Did you know that Shakespeare's actors weren't given the entire play, but only a scroll with their lines on it and 1 to 3 words to cue them before each line? Well then, I guess you haven't talked to me in a while because I'm obsessed. Let's make one. Here's what we used for last fall's production of Twelfth Night. We've got two 7/16 dowels cut to 5¼ inches, some tape and scissors, and Malvolio's lines and cues, printed in 2 columns on 8.5 by 11 paper, then cut in half. We are just going to tape the dowels at the top and bottom, and each sheet on the front and back. First, we are going to cut away the excess paper at the top of each sheet to minimize the length of the roll. Why did Elizabethan theaters use these? Printing was too expensive and copying by hand too time-consuming to bother giving every actor the whole play. So, a scribe would take Shakespeare's full text and copy out just the bits that each actor would need, called their part. Sound familiar? It's also the source of our word role. Play your part. Know your role. Pretty cool. Even after printing books got relatively cheap in the 19th century, actors continued to use parts, or cue scripts as some people call them now, and there's evidence that they were used all the way back in the ancient Greek theater. But now that you can get a cheap Dover edition for a couple of bucks, why would you use a cue script today? Because it's all you need. Shakespeare's actors didn't know what anybody else was going to say, so they had to listen very carefully for their cue. They could be surprised or delighted or confused by what their fellow actors said, and they could play that moment, as long as they each knew their part, like each musician in an orchestra. In rehearsal, a cue script frees up your hands from carrying a full text and searching and highlighting your lines against all those hundreds of lines you don't need. And remember, Shakespeare knew that this was the way his actors would learn their roles, so he wrote his plays with them in mind. Once you start working from cue scripts, you make all kinds of discoveries about how Elizabethan companies performed and how we can too. Oh, and we found that this elastic is key. I don't know what Shakespeare was using to hold back his ponytail, but I know that this elastic makes scrolling through your lines a dream. Want to know more? Read a book and hold on to your cross-gartered yellow hose, because we're going to be talking a whole lot more about cue scripts in 2025.